Anna Roy on the female matching side, also huge. And they did pick up a few players this year. Miriam Furster coming over from Disconnection. Definitely going to be a very one to look off for on the Mosquitoes side. For Rangers, why don't you talk us down a little bit of the roster here?
Well, yes, for Rangers, we have a lot of a younger roster compared to Mosquitoes, but these are all players that have been on the Italian scene for a while, and they've been really growing as a team for the past 2 seasons, so let's see what they can do against Mosquitoes.
Yeah, very young. I will note the one exception to that, Alberto Girotto, been a classic player for the Italian national team for years now. He's bringing up some experience. I heard from the coach before this game that part of coming back in that game against Disconnection was putting Girotto back on O-line and using that experience to calm things down because the O-line was screwing it up early on. We'll see if they throw him out here to start. So we're going to have Mosquitoes in white pulling to Rangers in red, and the game is underway. Chiara Ceci feels the pull, but allows it to drop. And Mosquitoes are on the move. That is Girotto, so he's going to start on offense this game. Roberto Palmari has the disc. Looks for Girotto, doesn't like it. Goes up the line to Carlo Mazzo. The disc is going for the end zone, an immediate shot, and that's too far. A little bit out of reach for Margarita Salvamini. And Mosquito's going to get an immediate chance with, I think that's Kati Meisel walking the disc up. Sorry, that's Leonie Meister. Puts it to the middle to Dunschern. Dunschern continues. Back to Meister again. Meister goes deep. Looking for it all quickly. Bodies underneath it, including CJ Colicchio. The tip's there, and the D is there. And Rangers get it back. That's Chiara Ceci with a block for the Rangers. So teams exchanging turnovers to start this one out. One thing Mosquitoes talked about before this game is that they had a tough time converting D options. Their D-line was 4 for 14, according to their coach, and they were not super happy about that. Here squandering another opportunity early. Mazzo had the turnover early. This time he swings it to Girotto. Girotto with a big shot over to Chiaro Varotto. Nice movement here from Rangers. Shot goes into the end zone. CJ Colicchio's there, and the big man cannot take it down. Defensive effort there from Mosquitoes. There's a discussion here on a foul call. Let's take a look. I didn't see a lot of contact there. It looks to me like CJ Colicchio just didn't read it perfectly. What do you see here, Julia? Let's talk us through what's going on.
I do see a little bit of contact, but unclear whether that actually affected his ability to make the catch. I think that's one of the most difficult things, and I think probably what's being talked about on the field right now that makes it harder to come to a conclusion for these calls. Is whether it actually affected the play.
I feel like the Mosquitoes player had position, and if CJ Colicchio wanted to get it, he would have had to go through the player to get there.
I agree.
But it is going to be an accepted foul with Colicchio getting it back. So Rangers again looking for their first hold. Back to Girotto, and that is a turnover for Rangers. Mosquitoes have another chance. Decide not to do it for the one shot. Fast break. Nice movement here from Mosquitoes. Samek now flips it over to Moratinkle. Samek on the sideline, but eventually finds Dunschern. Mosquitoes definitely struggling to find space here, and that throw is going to be too far outside the reach of Leonie Meister. And Rangers going to be gifted a short field opportunity. Looks like Carlo Mazzo's going to pick up for Rangers. And again, Mosquitoes D-line not capitalizing on their chances. Plagued them in the leftovers game, and it's plaguing them here. Can Rangers punch this one in? Palmieri swings it around, finds Salvanini. Girotto. Girotto with a high release backhand into the end zone, and that's going to be a score for Roberto Palmieri, and Padova Rangers survive with a hold 1-0.
That was great work from both teams. I think Mosquitoes did show a lot of great patience, but the execution errors got them in the end. And Padova, on the other hand, I'm seeing that they're happy to play small ball, but then looking for an opportunity for a player to throw a player deep in the end zone, and willing to take some of those riskier shots. So that paid off in the end. That scuba was very well executed.
We see a lot of highlight plays from just the first point of this game. Teams giving it back to each other. And I think this final scoring possession, you see Girotto. That's the scuba you were talking about, to perfection to Palmieri. But if it's going to take it that difficult for them to get a hold, they're going to have a long game ahead of them.
Yeah, if every point is like this one, it's going to be a battle of attrition in this game.
So we'll get our first look at the Mosquitoes O-line now, as we have our first female-gendered point. Here we have Alberto Girotto, some stats. 13 wins and 6 losses. This is from the 2025 UCS season. Very key player for this team. There's Katarina Meisel. Getting it up to Angeter, Konstantin Angeter. Karatsky puts it up to Roy. Roy and Kratky working together, playing a little catch. Roy fakes it to the end zone. Nice shot, but Meisel can't hold on to it and gifts Rangers a chance at a break early. Good movement here from Rangers. Fumagalli puts it up. Inside shot, there's a chance for a D, but Rangers hold on to it. Shot to the end zone, here it is. Lots of space, can the player catch up? Two of them, can they talk to each other? And it is Alessandro Spirigliozzi with the goal, stealing a stat from his teammate.
Yeah, Padova at this point, they did a great job of running through those discs and making sure that even if a teammate throws a disc that's maybe not the perfect pass, that they are there and they will attack 100% and not let the defender get to it first. So yeah, they seem to all have each other's backs, as you could see in the end zone there, with two players attacking and making sure that if one didn't catch it, the other would be there.
Yeah, apologies out there to Caterini Andreaghi, who did not get the goal, intercepted by her teammate. Rangers up 2-0 here, and this is reminiscent in the Mosquitoes leftovers game earlier. Again, Mosquitoes European champions, a lot of them favored to do well at this tournament. But they went down 4-0 in that game, had a rough start. And I talked to the coach who said part of the problem was they started pretty late here at Elite Invite. There's the late round starts, and they said that they're actually not used to that. They're used to getting up, eat your breakfast, go get ready and play, but now they had to deal with a morning of not playing. But he did say that's great practice for Worlds, because at Worlds, of course, you can have one game in a day that's at 4 p.m. And so they're getting the practice they want, and they hoped they could start this game with a bit more fire. But so far, it's the Rangers from Italy on top. One break up, 2-0. There we have the Angeter again, the other one. And there, an overshot to Roy, another mistake from Mosquitoes. Throwing error after throwing error here by the Austrians. Ragusa shoots it deep. There's an Angeter in the space. There's a Ranger in the space. And Angeter gets the D. That's Christoph Angeter. There's both Christoph and Konstantin, the 78 and 87. I like that the brothers chose those two numbers that way. And there we see an Angeter first pass. Shot over to Kratky. Back to Angeter. Kratky finds Roy. Roy back to Christoph Angeter. That's Konstantin Angeter. The two brothers work in the backfield. There's Meisel on the under. Has an option for Roy deep, elects not to shoot it. Instead makes the easier shot to Kratky. Still working hard on the sideline to catch that one, and Konstantin Angeter with the score. As Mosquitoes finally get themselves on the board, it's 2-1, Rangers up.
Mosquitoes with great defense after the turn. That's, I know, one of the hardest parts of offense is when you're so focused on offense, really turning on the gas when it comes to defense and making sure to get the disc back. But Mosquitoes did a great job there. Execution errors are going to happen, so you got to make sure that you're heads up on defense, which they were. So it's a great job by Mosquitoes' O-line defense.
So Mosquitoes coming back out on D. Last time the Rangers O-line was out, it was a dirty hold with, I believe, 3 turnovers from their side before they managed to punch it in. Dunshern with the pull. Girotto works in this dominator set by the Rangers. Tonelli also in there with Chiara Barotto. Chiara looking for Girotto in the dump space, but great defense by Dunshern. And now finally they get out of the dominator set and get it over to Stefani. Stefani to Girotto, Dunshern gets a hand on it, not enough though. Girotto with it again. I love this Girotto-Dunshern matchup. Shot goes into the end zone. CJ Colicchio's all alone. I think there's going to be a pick called, and it's going to go back. I'm really enjoying this Girotto-Dunshern matchup in the backfield. There's some discussion. There's the D by Dunshern, not quite getting there.
Great job by Girotto, going basically every other this point.
I think there's a discussion about maybe stepped on a foot off the push-off foul or something. Not seeing hand signals here, but the disc is going to go back. Colicchio was probably too free for it to be a clean point. Mosquitoes usually have a bit better defense than that. Some discussions with Valentin Deutsch-Bayer. Palmieri finds Colicchio on the dump. And that showed a little too hot, not quite in Palmieri's hands, and Mosquitoes get a shot at a break opportunity. Deutsch-Bayer swinging it around with Noah Hyder. Nice lefty inside backhand. And Mosquitoes just go to work. Oh, but that shot a little bit too much in the end zone, and they're going to give it right back to Rangers. Another blown opportunity for this Mosquitoes D-line.
The flow was looking great during that point. And again, another slight execution error.
Throw too high for Vanek, and against a team like Rangers, they can maybe afford to give up a few of these, but if they're preparing for Worlds, when it gets to that level, they're going to need to find a way to clean up their D-line offense. We talked about how hard O-line defense is. D-line offense, another part of the puzzle in winning Frisbee games.
Definitely.
Salvemini finds an under option in Girotto. Girotto trying to go every other again. Floats it up into space, and that's eaten up by 2 Mosquitoes female defenders. Just a bit too much on that throw. Deutsch Bayer. Gets it over to Förster. Disconnection German player, and she throws it, but out of the hands of the Mosquitoes attacker, and now they're on the fast break. Colicchio looking for options. Colicchio shoots into the end zone. Girotto's there. Can he track it down? No, that's not the greatest option, throwing over the head of Girotto. He had plenty of space, but the throw not quite on. There's a lot of discussion now these days about whether same third hucks are good or bad. A lot of debate. And I think this is the exact throw you don't want to do, throwing over the head of a receiver, making it really hard to track down. So Mosquitoes get another chance at a break opportunity. They've been unable to punch one in yet this game. Let's see what Miriam Förster can do. Great marking here by Rangers, and they force a shot into the end zone. Dunschern's there, and they take it in. Dunschern on the doorstep, pops it in, and there's a goal for Mosquitoes. That's Daria Shuruga with the score. And Mosquitoes do punch in the break and even it out at 2-2.
Great catch there by Dunschern. And I have to say, I like that decision from Dresta. As you see the Rangers turn. Quite a long point again with both teams turning it. And then the slight overthrow from Rangers. And finally, not a perfect shot, but she knows her receiver, and Dunschern was there to get it. Great grab.
There was help defense there from Chiara Barotto, but not enough to take out Dunschern. And they do punch in the break. Still, I think they're not going to be happy with their break efficiency. And I think they're like 1 for maybe 6 at the moment. They were unhappy with 4 for 14, but they're pretty much on that same track at the moment.
They have had quite a few break chances so far, and I think there's going to be quite a few more since this is the last game of the day, I believe, and the conditions are quite warm, a little bit humid, so teams are starting to get a little bit tired.
Yeah, you played on this field earlier today, I think. I think this field is a few degrees hotter than the whole rest of the complex.
It definitely
Shot goes up for Rangers. There's bodies of Mosquitoes underneath it. What a takedown there from the Rangers, and they're off to the races looking for a goal, and that's a score for Rangers. Margherita Salvemini with the take.
The Rangers definitely don't hesitate to throw it deep when they see a target who's open. They are confident, and although not all of those shots have worked, this one was a great decision. Great shielding out of positioning.
That's Stefano Pagnarello with the take, with the catch. And eventually Girotto pops it in to Salvemini. What a grab between 2 Mosquitoes defenders there. Hats off to Pagnarello.
But that at this stage in the day, short O points are really what every team wants and what every team needs to do in order to save energy to last the rest of the game.
Yeah, especially a team like Rangers, I think they probably don't have as much depth as Mosquitoes does, so keeping their O-line points short will help that, make sure that their O-line can stay fresh throughout the whole hour and a half we have here in regulation time. Mosquitoes now with Meisel. Passes it to Joanna Roy. Ongetter working with Roy in the backfield. Roy with a nice high pass. There's a float. What a defensive play, but it's still going to be caught by Ongetter. Heartbreak there for Rangers as they make the play, but it doesn't come down with it.
I do love the shape of that throw, but floaty throws in the end zone tend to be a risk of, or tend to be extra risky.
I think especially in mixed, throwing floaty throws to female matching targets can give a shot for a male matching player to come screaming in there, as did Alessandro Fumagalli with this amazing layout block attempt. And luckily for Mosquitoes, Ongetter's there in the back to clean it up.
Great heads up playing from Ongetter.
So 3-3 all tied up here. One break each in this game so far. Rangers have had a bit of a harder time scoring their offensive points so far. The last one was pretty clean. Matzo will start things off for the Rangers. He'll take the brick between the light blue cones. Maximilian Schmid ready for him for the first play, starting in a horizontal stack formation. A lot of sagging in the lanes from the dump defenders of Mosquitoes. And Rangers do a good job of punching that with a leading pass rather than just throwing it flat sideways. I like that Rangers move. 17 Girotto now with it. Matzo in the middle. Palmieri, and there's a travel on the play, I think. Way back for Girotto. Or is it on Matzo? Matzo finds Palmieri again. Doesn't like the give-go option. Puts it out to space for Barato. Nice inside shot from Barato. Palmieri on the end zone. Finds Girotto on the swing. Doesn't like the scoring option. Playing very conservative. Blades it out. Is it too far? It is. Just a bit too much on that for Margherita Salvemini. And that's going to give Mosquitoes another chance. Again, have Leonie Meister starting things off for the Mosquitoes D-line. Oh, and that's a bit undershot, but Junshuren saving the day again. Rangers are calling it up. There's an injury on the play, though. I saw a sign for injury anyways. Well, I think it's just a discussion about up or down. There you see, it looks to me on the replay that Junshuren had the hands under the disc.
It does look up to me as well. Great heads up play once again.
It's coming back as a contested down call, so it's going to go back. In the hands of Tabea Kamer. And there is an injury call on the play. Moritz Hinkle goes deep for Dunschern. Dunschern's tracking it down and going to take that one all the way to the bank. And that's another great grab, another great play for Jakob Dunschern. And they make the score 4-3 as that's another break for Mosquitoes.
Both teams have been doing a really nice job generating open space by isolating players. And so, in this case, Mosquitoes waited for the right moment for Dunschern to get some separation from his defender, and this time put a perfect throw out in space.
Dunschern, no stranger to the elite invite. There's a timeout on the field as teams try and cool themselves down. But I do remember back in the last World Cycle, Dunschern was playing for Groot at the time, and Mosquitoes had a surprise upset against Groot, which was their home team losing to their home team at Elite Invite. That was a huge surprise. That is, I think, the first time people had even heard of Mosquitoes. Here we're looking at some head-to-head stats of games between, I think, stats of players when they played each other so far this season. So you see here, Johanna Roy leading the way for Mosquitoes when they played against Rangers, and Alberto Girotto on the Rangers side, tied up with Roberto Palmieri with 4 stats each. So far, Mosquitoes has 2 wins against Padova Rangers in the history between these two teams. And again, the expected score of this game is 15 to 12.11. So expecting a 3-point match here is the algorithm. Curious, Julia, how are games going on around the complex right here?
So at the moment, Tiefsee Taucher from Germany are playing Disco Bolo, another Italian team. And Tiefsee Taucher currently leads 5-2 in that game. We also have Disconnection, another German mixed team, leading 6-4 over Leftovers, who are from the Czech Republic. And then we have Tartu Turbulence leading 7-3 against Deep Space, last year's mixed division runner-up.
Yeah, Deep Space not having a great tournament so far. They lost to Disco Bolo earlier, and so they might be starting off things 0-2, and that's not where a team that's been at least in the finals of the EUCF the last 3 or 4 years in a row wants to be. We're back in play here as Rangers get things going. Starting off in a sort of horizontal stack formation, but definitely playing a dominator set through it. Mazzo playing alone with Tonelli. Now looking for an under option from Colicchio. He gets it back to Mazzo. Nice fluid play here for the Rangers. So far playing mostly through their male matching players. Colicchio finds Palmieri on the swing. Goes around. Here's our first female touch of the point. Silvamini. Looking for a scoring option, doesn't see one, swings it over to Colicchio. Colicchio fakes the hammer, doesn't like the dump option. And just another throwing error there for Colicchio, a bit too far out of the reach from Marta Stefani. There's a discussion on the play. Just a bit out of sorts there. You saw what he saw there as 2 defenders went out of the way and it left somebody wide open, but just threw it too far. Trying to lead the player too much rather than just put it to her chest. I think she was wide open, so the lead wasn't necessary. I think there's an injury on the play, so substitutions being made here by the Rangers.
Another thing we haven't mentioned this game yet is that there is also a bit of upwind, downwind, so players really need to focus on keeping their throws sharp in these conditions.
Schmid with it for Mosquitoes on the sideline. Lots of space for that cut. Mosquitoes streaking down the line. Pass goes up for the break opportunity. And there's too much pressure there, and I think a foul is going to be called. That's Andreas Vanek. Let's take a look here. Yeah, a bit of contact there from Carlo Mazzo. It was also quite a speculative pass. What's your opinion on that one, Julia?
I do see that there was a bit of contact, but I would say I don't think that it affected the player's ability to make a catch, although it is hard to see from these angles, but I do think that the defender seemed to try to avoid contact, and any contact seemed like it might have been incidental, but it looks like the foul was not contested.
Yeah, it was an accepted foul. I saw they went to Christina Obermeier, commentator in the background for her input. An Austrian herself, so I don't know how unbiased she was in that moment, but seems to have convinced the players to accept the foul there. Vanek is going to start things off here on the goal line. Immediately goes to the end zone and a layout grab for Mosquitoes. And that's a score for Daria Sharuga. I believe that's the second goal for Sharuga this game.
Throw a little ahead of Sharuga, but she is able to come down with the disc.
So Mosquitoes up 5-3 here, extending their lead with that break on a little bit of a roll.
I will say there have been a few foul calls in this game. I think that sometimes different teams see fouls differently in terms of what constitutes a foul and what is just incidental contact.
Yeah, and it's good for teams to feel each other out early in a game and set the level and set the tone. And we always hope that they can maintain the same judgment on fouls they accept or don't accept in the early game as they do in the late game. It can sometimes be challenging, but I think players right now seeming to say that we don't really accept a lot of contact. And, you know, that's going to have to go both ways. Dunschren with the pull for Mosquitoes. As we'll see how Rangers respond in this moment. Mazzo finds Girotto on the wide swing. All kinds of problems there for Martino Tonelli, and I think a foul is being called, so the stall will be reset to 1. Finds the space in the end. Knifing throw over to Palmieri. Back to Tonelli. Mazzo finds Girotto on the around. Girotto streaking deep. Not thrown to there by Varotto. Varotto doesn't like the options. Has to work hard there to get it to Palmieri. Hard work here by the Rangers. This is Sarabunos with the disc. Inside shot, and that's going to be way too far. Not enough touch on that one, and the Rangers give the Mosquitoes another chance for a break. Valentin Deutschbauer to start things off for this Mosquitoes D-line run. And that's a chance for Callahan. And I'm not sure, but I think Margarita Salvemini might have had that first.
Great play by Salverini.
Let's have a look at it on this one on the replay. Ooh, very simultaneous there. What did you see, Julia?
I think it's really hard for me to see who got it first. I think that it might have been at the same time, but it really comes down to milliseconds here.
I'll have one more look at it here. Oof, it's so close. There, I do think Mosquitoes player might have gotten it first, just barely, but going back is probably the fair resolution here. Deutsch Bayer has it. This time gets the inside shot. And a timeout's going to be called by Mosquitoes as they try and clean their offense up. Rangers putting a lot of good pressure here on the O-line defense, but just not really holding it together in their red zone so far, Julia.
Yeah, their D-line is putting great pressure on defense. I'm really liking the intensity here, but sometimes a little bit too quick to throw to what seems like an open receiver. In any case, it does seem like there are some fatigue mistakes happening here as a result of a long, warm day of ultimate. But in the end, Mosquitoes are going to have to continue to execute if they want to take this game.
Yeah, for me, it's been mainly red zone execution mistakes from Rangers. You see that throwaway just there. Here, the almost Callahan, pretty simultaneous. I think just went to the Mosquitoes, but it was a contested turn, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of the turnovers that we're seeing are throws that are being put out into space, possibly to an open receiver, but maybe floating just a little bit too long so that the defender has a chance to catch up.
So Valentin Deutsch Bayer going to start things off as Mosquitoes put a clean horizontal stack out. And it looks like, well, Rangers have not quite set up their defense yet. I'm curious if they're going to go strict person or try and clamp down here with some junk. It looks like they're just looking for personal matchups at the moment. Let's see what kind of play Mosquitoes are going to run off of a stop disc here. They have their field matching players in the middle of the field. Male matching on the outsides. And Rangers do a great job shutting down the first cut. They have to swing it. Eventually get Dunschern back to Deutsch Bayer. Now in the hands of Dunschern. And a lot of stagnation from the Mosquitoes cutters at the moment. Not really giving very many options. Heider gets it back to Deutsch Bayer. Tabea Kramer puts it around and just a miscommunication with Deutsch Bayer there. And the mid-point timeout does not become fruitful for Mosquitoes as they squander another break opportunity. And now Carlos Mazzo walking very slowly up to the disc. Can Rangers punch it in the red zone? Around break there for Varotto. Varotto doesn't like the cut from Palmieri. Instead finds Tonelli on the inside shot. Nobody continuing the blade over to Palmieri, and that's a score, and Rangers survive. They keep the game within one. It's 5-4, Mosquitoes on top.
It is paying off for the Rangers to really not hesitate when they see an open player in the end zone, and they've shown that they do have the throws to make it happen. That was an unfortunate miscommunication for Mosquitoes. You can see each player had a different idea of what they wanted, but great blade throw for the score.
What's your opinion on in-point timeouts? It's a frequently discussed thing among commentators about whether you should be saving your timeouts for between points, and how some people think that if you call a timeout in point, it allows the defense to kind of lock in, and it looks like statistically that it's more likely to cause a turnover. But as a player at the elite level, what's your opinion on in-point timeouts?
I think it really depends on the momentum of the game. I think that in a game like this, you see that the points are really long, and so I think it really does benefit the players here to call the timeout during the point, because when you have multiple turns in 1 point, players get tired, and the likeliness that they'll turn over the disc gets a lot higher. So timeouts can certainly help with that.
Roller pull here from Rangers, trying to set up some type of trap for Mosquitoes on the sideline, slow their O-line down. Rangers got an initial break early, but there's some discussion on the field. I'm not sure what they're talking about, but for me it was a pretty standard roller pull. Oh, and offsides being called. I'm not sure who's calling the offsides, but if it's offsides, they're going to get a brick mark. So offsides being called on Rangers, and instead of the roller pull, they're going to get, they're going to have to move. They're going to lose yardage, but they will start on the brick mark. Kati Meisel for Mosquitoes. Around pass to Angeter. Christoph Angeter gets a nice throw off. Seiler finds Roy. Roy to Angeter. Mosquitoes working nicely. They found themselves in the red zone here. Nice throw around to Angeter. He's going to take that one. High, but it works. Kratzky puts it in the end zone, and that's a score for Mosquitoes. As Konstantin Angeter gets involved late in the point. It was his brother Christoph that was doing a lot of the work in this one. But they're up 6-4.
Fantastic, patient offense from Mosquitoes. Here, in this point, what they did right, they really gave each other time to make those cuts. And as we look at what happened here on the pull,
I'm not sure they were offsides. I think they were offsides by the back line, but that's not the end zone line. For me, they were all behind the front line when that pull went off. So I don't know what Mosquitoes saw there.
yeah, offside's not a call we see very often in club, at least when we have no, when we don't have observers, which in European Ultimate we generally don't. Not a lot of teams look for that, but it is something that can benefit teams in close games like this.
Still, for me, it didn't look offsides. That was at least on my view.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like there was a confusion on the lines. I think they were offsides from the 16-meter box line, but that's not the end zone line. So.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of lines on this field. It's kind of hard to tell which one is the correct one.
Let's see if Rangers can find themselves in the right lines as they move their offense down the field. Carlos Mazzo in power position. Gets the undercut to Palmieri. Palmieri working with Girotto. She tries to go every other and just working himself out there. The veteran. Stefani finds Palmieri. No follow-up options with all the space in front of him, but eventually finds the pop pass for the score. And Rangers keep it within 1, 6-5. It's Chiara Cecchi with the goal.
I really love that cut from Cecchi. She saw that her defender's hips were a little bit turned and made a great cut to a great juke to the foreside before coming back to get it with separation. This was a great offensive possession, and specifically great end zone possession for the Rangers.
First we've seen in a while. They've been struggling in that position earlier in the game, looking like they're finally gelling there.
Yeah, this is something that they'll want to continue to do if they want to make a comeback and take the lead in this game.
6-5 the scoreline here. I believe Rangers started on offense, so if Mosquitoes can get a lead into the half, they will have that little half break advantage. getting the disc in the second one. Halftime's at 8 points here. Or at 45 minutes, which I think we're about at the 45-minute mark on the clock, which means that probably after this point we will add 1. So if Mosquitoes score, I think we'll get half at 8. If Rangers score, we might have half at 7. We'll keep you updated as we see things going on here. Roy pops it over. Back to Deutschbayer. Roy now. Interestingly enough, there are a lot of D-line players from Mosquitoes, at least on the male matching side on this point, doing some interesting things with their lines. Valentin Deutschbayer has been anchoring the D-line offense for Mosquitoes and now is out here on an O point. Nice inside shot. Roy now with it. And that's a score to Angerer again. Konstantin Angerer scoring a lot of goals here in this game, and the Mosquitoes take it 7-5. So I think we'll have half at 8.
Yeah, great work from both Roy and Angerer there. Angerer touching a lot of discs, and his teammates are looking for him a lot, and Roy with a great throw to the break side. That was a very nice inside from Deutschbayer as well.
Yeah, a bit curious on the discussion here. It looks like the Mosquitoes are walking to the middle of the field. I don't know if this is a timeout or if actually maybe we did have halftime at 7. Unclear to me exactly what's going on.
It seems like Mosquitoes might have thought that halftime would definitely be after this point, which might explain the crossovers.
Yeah, so it's halftime at 8 points / 45 minutes, and our clock was very close to 45 minutes. We might not be totally perfectly synchronized with the timekeepers in the game, but we will know for sure if this was halftime if Mosquitoes receive. But I think Rangers not taking a break here, and I think they're pretty sure it's not halftime yet. So some confusion in the timekeeping. Nice play.
So yeah, some highlights here from Rangers. Both teams are doing a little bit of poaching in this game, and what Rangers have done a good job of recognizing those poaches and trying to get the disc to the players that are being poached.
Mosquitoes ready to pull. There's a lot of time between these 2 points. Doesn't think it's halftime, but feels like somebody should be charged a timeout given how long it's been in this point so far. Pass center to Mazzo. Into power position. Palmieri. To Girotto. Gets it to Mazzo in power position again. There's space there for the shot. It's going to be a little... Oh, what a catch there from Chiara Varotto. Discussion as to whether it's in or out. It's being called a goal. Great play, Chiara.
Yeah, Mazzo recognized that Varotto had space in front of her, put it out a little bit far, but Varotto with an amazing catch and staying just in bounds.
Yeah, Mazzo really trusting the receiver there. It's very male-dominated dominator set to get them in a position, and then Varotto timed the deep cut really, really well. Throw was a bit off from Mazzo, but she still makes the grab. I guess he knows his receiver pretty well.
Yeah, Rangers' style of play seems to be a lot of work between the in the handler space between the male matching players, and then looking for a female matching player streaking deep or as a target for an away shot.
Some people at home might know that Padova Rangers are missing one key player a lot of people were expecting, which was the pickup Khalif El Salam. Apparently unable to get the Italian medical certificate necessary to come play this tournament, so apparently we'll have that all sorted by Windmill, and they're going there. That'll be the prep for Worlds for him. Khalif, if you're watching back home, we miss you. We wish you were here to make this even a bit spicier of a game. So far, a pretty good one, though, between Mosquitoes and Rangers. Rangers playing really well, starting off with this junky set, trying to poach in the lanes.
Yeah, Rangers recognizing that Mosquitoes are trying to work it between their handlers, so trying to stop that flow and slow their momentum a little.
Meisel shoots it deep as there's some blown coverage. Angeter's in the end zone, and that's a grab for Christoph Angeter. His brother's usually scoring the goals, but he pulls one down himself, and this must be halftime, 8-6 for Mosquitoes.
Perfect shot from Meisel. A very experienced player, having previously played several years on Yaka and winning a championship with them in the women's division, I believe, in 2021. Really just a perfect throw out into space, timed flawlessly and caught very nicely, chased down skillfully by Angeter.
All right, with that, we're going to take a short break here. We'll be back with you. Second half action coming up next. Mosquitoes will receive. They're up 8-6. All right, welcome back. We'll have a look at the schedule for the premium games. We're at the tail end of Saturday here. Mosquitoes versus Rangers have Mooncatchers versus La Fota coming up next. Going to be a spicy one. And then tomorrow, one more round of pool play for each division. Deep Space, TFC Tower, Clapham, Wall City, Iceni, Jinx, Midnight. And then we'll go straight into semifinals and the finals on Monday. What's the game that you have left tomorrow? Who do you have left on your schedule?
We have Yaka. So did I'm actually not sure. Did Yaka beat Jinx? I believe they did. If so, it's the game for the top spot in the pool.
Yes, Yaka and Moon Cup both 2-0. They beat Jinx 15-13. There's Moon Cup 1-15-10. Yaka beat Iceni 15-7, and Moon Cup beat Iceni 15-8. So on trading who got the better score, diff on the two opponents. But now we're back in play here. Mosquitoes starting on offense, up 8-6. Going up a couple breaks in this game. Meisel now with it. Gets to Angeter number 1, who's looking for Angeter number 2. Finds him. Christoph. And that's a hand block from Rangers. But I think it's coming back on a foul call. Caterini Andreaggi gets her hand in there. Let's take a look. Camera gets faked out here.
Seems like the argument might be that the disc was still in his hands.
Ooh, it looked like a clean hand block to me.
Yeah, I would say the same.
But it's going back to Mosquitoes. Deutschbayer. Angeter. Angeter's working together with Meisel in the backfield, along with Deutschbayer. Seems to have crossed over to offense. He was playing the beginning of this game on defense, but switched over a little while ago. Meisel with the great pass through to the middle. Angeter to Deutschbayer. Nice movement here from Mosquitoes as they're just swinging it around, not holding on to it even to stall one. Deutschbayer on the doorstep now. Gets to Angeter. Looking for a scoring option. Doesn't like what he sees so far. And then beautiful pass around into the end zone space for Deutschbayer. And Mosquitoes extend their lead to 9-6.
Rangers playing a very poachy style of defense in this end zone set, which is inevitably going to leave somebody open in the end zone, and maybe they were hoping that Mosquitoes would throw up a pass that was a little bit too floaty, but they threw a really nice pass right into the hands of Deutschbayer.
I think Deutschbayer snuck in from the handler space there. And I think when you play that poachy set against the isolated players, that's fine. But then the handler defenders have to be tight on. That's probably the mistake that the Rangers made there.
Yeah, oftentimes there's a lot of communication between the cutter defenders and the handler defenders. But what really throws off that kind of defense is when a handler goes into the cutter space. So that was a great job by Mosquitoes recognizing that and capitalizing on that defense.
The Rangers still within 3 here, but down 2 breaks, and Mosquitoes with that extra, it's called half break if you start on defense but win the half and extend their lead to 9-6. So Rangers a lot of work to do here if they want to come back. They had a first break of the game, going up 2-0. I don't think they've broken since then. And there's a just snatch. Great heads-up defense there from Tabea Kramer, and she gets the bookends and extends the lead to 10-6.
Mosquitoes starting to pull away in this game. I will say it is difficult to defend if you throw a turnover right outside your defending end zone. So great job by Mosquitoes punching that one in very quickly.
Especially against a zony, junky set, because you don't really have you have to figure out who you're covering, and by the time you do that, Kramer went back to the end zone. It's a little give, go, dink here.
Exactly, but yeah, there are a lot of poaches in this game, and Rangers are going to have to really look out for that.
Timeout on the field, probably by the Rangers to clean things up. I think that they might be hoping here to stay close in this game. Of course, every point's a ranking point here, and you can see here the mixed division rankings at the moment. So you see Rangers sitting there at 10th place, close to comfortable for EUCF qualification, but not totally safe. Mosquitoes in 4th right now. Of course, Zamperl, the surprise-ish team from Munich, didn't play EUCF last year, so that's why they're not here. People might expect that type of quality team to be at the Elite Invite, but didn't have an EUCF finish. And Monkey Grenoble sitting there at the top, but still not a lot of connection between the different bubbles here in mixed yet, so we'll have to see how. I think Elite Invite will bring some of that together.
I am surprised about Deep Space being 3-3, I have to say. They've been a dominant team for so many years and seem to be having a little bit of a slow start to this season.
Taking a slow start to the season, they're down 13-8 to Tartu right now. TFC Taucher up 10-7 on Disco Bolo, who, as we said, did beat Deep Space earlier in this tournament. And Disconnection Leftovers, which is the other 2 teams in this pool, tied at 10-10.
So I think we were talking about the timing of timeouts earlier. I think that this was also a well-taken timeout because I was talking about the momentum of the game. The momentum of the game seems to very much be with Mosquitoes at the moment, and so tactically, timeouts can be a great way to kind of reset your team, and I think that's what Rangers really needs right now, to turn this game around.
All right, we'll see if that'll work out for them as Mazzo here to collect the pull. He's saying, I can't see where that disc is coming from, right in the sun. Great tactic, always good to pull it into the sun, so can't be received. Nice movement here from Mazzo. Barotto has been such a good player here for Rangers so far this game, and she's getting involved in the dominator set. A lot of crowding now here. Finally giving themselves some space. Salvemini getting involved. Lots of really quick motion here from Rangers. They are not holding on to it even to stall one.
That is what you need to do with this kind of poachy defense. You cannot hold it too long.
Shot for the goal, and that's going to work out for Roberto Palmieri. He found a little pocket there in the end zone as everybody, defense and offense, crowding around the disc. He gets the score. And timeout worked out from Julia.
Great work by Rangers in this point. You can see another throw that is kind of a riskier, more difficult throw, but they're doing it confidently and they know their receivers, so it works out again.
Blade throw there. Italy not known for indoor ultimate, but still get those throws practiced in at Padova. I think that's exactly what Rangers need after the timeout. Get a nice clean hold. Really rapid movement against the junkie set, as you said.
Yeah, we've got just over 29 minutes left in the game, so Rangers have a little bit of time, but not too much, and 3 points is a lot, so they'll have to get a quick break right here.
Let's see if they can put some pressure on this Mosquitoes O-line. They haven't been perfect, but they've only been broken once so far this game. Very flowy set here for Mosquitoes. Lots of movement, but no cutting options. Eventually finds Angeter. Meisel and Angeter work with each other. Deutsch Bayer. Great give and go move by Meisel. Johanna Roy getting involved. Seiler looking for Roy, can't find an option. Eventually gets Deutsch Bayer in the backfield, and there's a layout bid, but not there. Deutsch Bayer doesn't like the look to Meisel. Takes Roy on the wide swing. Nice undercut there from Mosquitoes. Deutsch Bayer. Nice movement, Kratzky. Angeter and Kratzky working together. Eventually finds a swing to Deutsch Bayer. And nice cut there from Seiler.
Mosquito playing with a lot of patience in their end zone, and it pays off. I do like that they are engaging their female matching players a lot. And, but I think that they could do that even more. I think Mosquitoes have very strong women matching players with Meisel. She did go every other for a little bit of that point, but I do think that she could be even more involved for their offense. I think that the female matching players on Mosquitoes seem to have matchup advantages, and that is something that Mosquitoes could capitalize on them even more. Of course, they're not really in need of any switch-ups right now. I think if they continue to play the way that they've been playing, things will work out just fine for them. But yeah, great work from the Mosquitoes O-line on that point.
Yes, it was what we heard from the Rangers coach before the game, that it was they felt male matching wise they were okay athletically, but female matching wise they were a step behind Mosquitoes, and I agree with you, they are using it, but maybe could choose to use that, press that advantage a little more. Another great female matching player here, Miriam Förster. Previously of disconnection, pulling here for Mosquitoes. And Rangers get things going with Mazzo. Split stack formation. And just isolating Girotto. He's trying to get free, cut after cut. Junshern trying to put a body on him, but Girotto just holding on. Nice grab there from Salvemini. Salvemini's been so good this game. Mazzo now. Salvemini finds Girotto, who's just working so hard against his Junshern matchup. Round break to Colicchio. He's had a couple turnovers in the red zone. Can he hold his nerve? Nice inside shot to Girotto. And there, the pop in to Salvemini. That's a hold for Rangers, 11-8.
Nice clean hold for Rangers. Great work from Salvemini, Girotto, and Colicchio. They all work together really well. That was, it looks like a lot of the jitters or the execution errors that we saw at the beginning of this game seem to be, things seem to be working themselves out for the Rangers O-line a little bit more. They seem to be more on the same page. And we'll definitely need to keep that up for the rest of this game if they want to stay in this.
Here we see the inside shot from Colicchio. He's had a couple red zone turnovers, but here manages to hold his nerve, and Salvemini has been great for this Rangers O-line all game. Gets the final catch on that one. So 11-8, still down 3 points are the Rangers. They have not been able to get a break since the second point of the game. I don't think they've got too many break chances even. Mosquitoes O-line has cleaned things up, especially since Deutschbayer has moved over to the O-line. It's been very, very good offense. I saw there 2 Mosquitoes players watching Rangers for the offsides. Didn't work there for them.
Mosquitoes definitely going to take any opportunity they can to give themselves the advantage in this game.
Roy shoots for the end zone, and that's another goal for Mosquitoes. They keep their lead up, 12-8 here.
This is definitely a change of pace from what we saw from the beginning of the game. Earlier, the points were very long, but now the O points for each team seem to be pretty short and pretty clean, which is not what I would have expected in the last game of the day for these teams. But great work. Great work from both teams' O-lines to really stay focused and make sure that they hold quickly.
Well, in this heat late in this game, do you think it's harder to play offense or harder to play defense? Because maybe it's just the defense is just not able to keep up at the moment. Could be something like that, I don't know.
I guess, yeah, I would say defense. Offense feels like it gets easier throughout the day as you're playing together more and knowing more what to expect from your teammates. But yeah, defense, of course it also matters how many points you're playing offense and defense.
We'll see the Mosquitoes D-line come out and try and gum up this Italian O-line, who's been pretty clean, got broken early in the half, but since then, been quite good. Barotto starts things off. Mazzo and Palmieri get a little give-go. Sorry, that was Tonelli. Colicchio wide open under. Fakes the shot deep, doesn't like the option. Tonelli blades it around, there's Palmieri. Palmieri's gonna air it out for Colicchio and a few other receivers there in the area, and wow, what a grab by Salvemini. I thought Colicchio was gonna clean her up, but he gives her the head tap as Salvemini pulls in another goal for this Rangers team.
Spectacular grab there from Salvemini, and she's been really great for them this game. She's been making a lot of difficult catches, and she's been playing really well, really great defense on a turn as well. I think she's been maybe a little bit underutilized in the first half, but It's great to see that she's a bit more involved now.
Definitely a spark in this Mosquitoes, in this Rangers offensive line. I do wonder at some point here, you're going to have to cross over players like Salvemini and get a bit more athleticism on the female matching defense if they want to try to make a stand to come back into this one. It's the last game of the day. Mosquitoes is at 12 points. 15 is a win, so if they want to do some crossover, it's going to have to happen soon.
Yeah, time is running out for the Rangers, and they are really going to need this break.
Pull goes up from the Rangers. That's Fumagalli with the pull. Angetter. Gets it over to Deutschbayer. Deutschbayer with the hammer. Roy's going to have to toe it in. Did she keep her toes in? It's going to be called out. The sideline is calling it in. It's retracted. Great grab by Roy. Roy's got all kinds of space. Goes back to Meisel. Deutschbayer over to Kratzky. Junky look here from Rangers. They're keeping that poachy stuff up. Mosquitoes doing good to find little patches to move it forward. They're in their attacking brick mark now. Angetter looking for Kratzky. Finds Meisel. And this is pushing the Mosquitoes backwards. Christoph Angetter looking for options. Finds Meisel in the backfield. Deutschbayer there. Pressure is mounting here from Rangers. Can they force a turn? Mosquitoes not looking comfortable. Angetter goes back to Kratzky. Meisel over to Deutschbayer. Deutschbayer and Angetter, and now Mosquitoes are finally moving the shot back to the end zone. That's going to work out. Mosquitoes get another hold, 13-9.
Things were looking a little bit static from the Mosquitoes offense toward the end of that point, but the offense was very patient. They used both sidelines of the field and did get one over the top throw. That's haven't seen that many from Mosquitoes this game, but great grab and also great awareness from Roy in making sure she stayed in. And then we see for the score another throw around the defense. Very well done by Angetter.
Yeah, Christoph, one of the two brothers. The backhand blade to the back of the end zone. So 13-9, Mosquitoes hold on. I did like that defensive stand from Rangers. It forced that over the top throw, was just on the line for Roy. And definitely looked dicey. It was one of the least comfortable Mosquitoes offensive points so far the second half. But not enough, and their Mosquitoes are 2 points away from a win here.
It is interesting to see both teams seem to have adjusted a lot of their mistakes from the first half that were from throws that were too floaty. So now we're seeing a lot more blades and over-the-top throws.
Horizontal stack here from Rangers. Matzo gets things going. Nice inside shot there. Great grab by Stefani. Stephanie finds Palmieri. Around pass, and that's just a miscommunication eaten up by Mosquitoes. They're going the other way. Deutschbayer on the other side. Hinkle gets it to Dünscher, and Dünscher shoots for the end zone. Layout grab, that's phenomenal by Franziska Bauer. And they pour on the brakes now, 14-9.
Yeah, Dünscher there noticed that the defender had her back to him, and so just put it out into space. And Bauer with an amazing grab. The throw was a little bit far, but Mosquitoes have shown that all the way from the top to the bottom of their roster, everyone's willing to put their body on the line for the disc. Yeah, there we see the shot going up again. A little bit of a just trailing edge throw, but Bauer chases it down. Yeah, a little bit, just not quite outside in enough, but enough for Bauer to still make the play and come down with it.
It's funny that I could see the emotions even from behind on Dunshern. The original throw, they like start to walk off like this is good, and then all of a sudden they take a look, say, oh, maybe I threw it too far, and then receiver makes the play. So a roller coaster of emotions there in Dunshern's head. But it's working out 14-9. And just a few errors here from Rangers. They played well this game, but a few more offensive errors than the Mosquitoes have had, and not able to apply enough defensive pressure. I think that's been a big difference maker for the second half. The female matching side of Mosquitoes too strong. So we'll see, can they clean it up and get one more point on the board? Chiara Varotto eventually finds Mazzo, who's left wide open. Nice inside pass to Clicchio. Gets Mazzo. Gives and goes with Clicchio. Again, very quick movement here from the Rangers. And they were looking for that scoring opportunity off the FMPs. Settles for an under. That's Varotto. Puts it in the end zone, just out of there from Stefani. There's a fallen over player, and Stefani recognizes it just late enough, and Clicchio gets the score, but there's going to be discussion of whether he pushed off and fouled there. Noah Hyder has something to say. And Clicchio not happy with this call. Let's see what happened here. So here we're going to see the catch. And it looks to me like the Mosquitoes player just falls over from this angle. I didn't see what happened right before that moment, but
it seems like he might have made contact with one of his teammates, possibly.
Looks like it's going to be a retracted call, and Clicchio is going to keep the disc. I think maybe it was a pick call, but Clicchio saying he had enough separation anyways, so he wasn't going to get there.
Great, quick, clean hold there from Rangers. Definitely needed that since time is running out in this game.
So they get the 10th point on the board. Maybe here we'll get a better view of what happened here. So we see Clicchio goes for that cut, and I mean, there's some contact coming around, but I think that the Mosquitoes player is initiating that contact, trying to get his arm in the way. And yeah, Clicchio runs through it, but for me, I'm happy with the resolution, 14-10.
Yeah, it seems like Hyder might have just tripped. And yeah, and that doesn't seem like that contact was really initiated by Clicchio. So I agree, I think it was a great resolution.
All right, Rangers now 14-10. Mosquitoes 1 point away from winning this game. Can they put a little bit more pressure on the Mosquitoes O-line? What do you think here, Julia? Are they going to come out with a junkie set or just go hard person? What would you do based on how you've seen the game develop so far?
I'd continue to go with the junkie. I'd go with the junkie set at the beginning of the point. But Mosquitoes have shown that they can put those over-the-top throws up. So I think I would do some kind of defensive switch-up during the point.
Well, let's see if they listen to Coach Harris and how Rangers try and put some pressure on this stand. 5 points is a large mountain to climb, but it starts with one break. They're going hard person. Deutsch Bayer launches deep. Ongetter's there with steps. Trying to milk it in the end zone. He gets it right on the doorstep, flips it for the score to Roy. Oh, sorry, not Roy, but that's a Mosquitoes goal and a win, 15-10. The European champs clean things up with a 5-point win over the Padova Rangers. And we can hear the Mosquitoes vuvuzelas going wild.
That is just a perfect deep shot to Ongetter. Yeah, Deutsch Bayer knows his receiver and throws it perfectly out into space. Makes it a really pretty easy grab for Ongetter. Great effort by Mosquitoes, by Rangers. They did end up crossing over Salvemini to that point to try and generate some extra pressure. But in the end, it was. Mosquitoes were very solid, adjusted their errors from the beginning of the game, and were really difficult to stop in the second half.
So there you have it, 15-10 win. As we close things out, let's just have a quick look around the complex. TFC Taucher have taken down Disco Bola 15-9. Tartu 15-10 over Deep Space. Deep Space made a little bit of a comeback in the second half. And Disconnection Leftovers still at 14-13. You can, of course, watch that here, EUF Live. Every single game at Elite Invite is streamed in one way or the other. That'll do it here for this round. We're coming up next with the final round of the day with Mooncatchers versus La Fota in the Open Division. Julia, thanks for being here. Viewers, thanks for watching at home, and we'll see you soon.